And we're live. What's up, everyone? AB, wake up, man. It's freaking noon. Wake up.
I'm up.
Jeez Louise. Let's get the show on the road here.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Benzinga Nation, jam-packed show today. Peloton up 5%.
What's up, disciplined investor?
We got Benzinga CEO Jason RESN here with us.
The man, the myth, the legend, Tom Nash.
Peter Schiff on the Power Hour with us live today.
Interesting, different, unique, innovative companies.
Nia, you are live with us on the Power Hour. What's up?
Thank you so much for inviting me on.
Jessica Billingsley, that is the CEO of Akerna.
The best trade idea resource out there.
Hey, how we doing, everybody? AB, how's your Tuesday? Everyone in the chat, how's your Tuesday? Welcome. Shelly, what's going on? What's up?
Not a whole lot, Spencer. How are we doing today?
We're doing good. The market is doing okay. I mean, we're green in the major indexes. The S&P is green. The Nasdaq is green. The Russell is green. I mean, we're looking okay. We're looking good. I mean, if you want to pull up a chart of the SPY for me.
Of course, Spencer. I'll do that for you. Is there anything, economic news, anything driving markets being green today, or is it just hey, more buyers than sellers?
I think it's a case of more buyers and sellers. I mean, you look at that chart. I don't know what that is. You got a BVXV. Is that your new play? I mean, you look at the market today. You see, two stocks up for every stock down, right? I mean, you look at the S&P, the SPY, you zoom out. I mean, things were getting a little bit hairy there for a couple days, but we are looking like we're on a straight path to new all-time highs, at least in the SPY. So
I know, and you still have more than 2 months left in your bet with Joel of if we will see new all-time highs.
2.5 months. I gave Joel 4-1 odds, so we would see new all-time highs by the end of this year, and I'm looking pretty good. So here's what's on the docket for today. We're going to talk through some stocks on our radar, and then at 12:30 we're going to be joined by George Holmes. He's the CEO of Resonant. It's a 5G play. At 1, Neal Hamilton will hop on the stream, do some charts for a half hour or so. And then at 1:30, we'll be joined by Tim Quast, and AB and I will be with you throughout. This is our new midday show. I think we actually might even start the show earlier when I'm back in the office. So we got a lot going on here, AB. Let's start with SoFi. I was in this a couple months ago at $20. And it was a long-term play, and I wasn't. It was actually my biggest loser. It was my biggest bag for a little while there. Well, we've come all the way back now to the point where I am now flat to green in this thing. I don't know why we've come all the way. I don't know why we went down, and I don't know why we've come back. But I was all set to just do nothing on this until last week when David Green got in my head and was like, well, maybe you should lighten up a little bit because you've come all the way, you've come all the way back here. What say you, Aaron Bree? What do I do with my SoFi? I'm basically at my cost basis right now.
So Spencer, this is a stock that I actually don't mind holding long-term, kind of, getting through some maybe short-term losses, because I think this stock does have the potential, to potentially be a big time. This could be a $50, $60 stock here in 5, 6, 7, 10 years. I think there are a few companies out there, a few stocks out there that do have interesting, growth stock cases, and SoFi is one of them. There are other stocks that maybe if you got back to green on and you were dogging for a while, that I'd say, yeah, maybe you should just get out of that. But this one, Spencer, I don't know where, your risk appetite is. I know SoFi is one of your bigger individual holdings because I know a lot of your allocations in ETFs. So I would say, hey, because of the potential upside for this stock, I don't mind holding on to it, even if you have to even if you have to kind of sustain through some short-term losses.
I actually don't know off the top of my head what my weighting is. So let's find out right now. Let's log into Fidelity, yada yada yada, blah 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 blah. I'm on the app. Their app is different.
I don't know, and let me know in the chat. I
what do I
don't know. Like,
see?
I don't have any buddies, I think, that use SoFi for banking or for personal loans or anything. Drop me a 1 in the chat if you are actually a SoFi customer, if you have an account at SoFi. Webcoin Spencer saying you should sell a call against SoFi, kind of a compromise or a hedge. And yeah, I mean, it's one of these stocks that, like I said, it's hard to gauge early term. You know, you're not going to be able to get a good sense of financial, anything like this. It's more of, hey, this could be something that really takes off, and you can say, oh, I had this in my portfolio at $16, $17. We're getting some 1s in the chat, Spencer, for people that actually use SoFi. So let us know, Christopher,
Right.
Cole, Justin, Hideki, how do you guys like it? I mean, do you like it compared to using other investment apps, other banking apps?
Yeah, and also, what do you use it for? I just had it up on the screen there. I'll bring it back up. Do you use it for like personal loans? Use it for like your credit card? Do you own their ETFs? Do you do it for use it for investing? I just looked it up. My SoFi is 5% of my entire portfolio, which is a lot for me, frankly, in one individual stock. 5%, and so I'm comfortable at that. I'm not gonna definitely not buying more. Christopher says he buys more SoFi every Monday. Great if it's working for you. I don't like the idea of any individual stock being more than 10% of my entire portfolio. 5 is 5 is good for me. I'm comfortable with 5. So, what do you guys use it for? I'm just curious. Christopher likes Stash. Man, I haven't been on. Honestly, I haven't been on Stash. I sometimes I forget Stash is still around. Truly, Stash was like the hottest thing like 4 or 5 years ago, and I like never hear about Stash anymore. Aaron, to your point, I don't use SoFi for anything. Not to say I wouldn't, I just don't. Also, changing your banks is people are lazy. I'm lazy. I've been wanting to change. I use Capital One for my banking, and I hate it, but I don't change because I'm it's a pain in the butt to change your bank.
Well, we know how loyal people can be to brands. So for me, one of my theses on SoFi is that there are a lot of maybe older people that like having a bank account in, say, Bank of America, and then they go to their investment account at Charles Schwab, and they have an affinity to these brands.
Yeah.
But I think over time we might see that younger people, maybe my generation, even the generation below, might not have this brand loyalty, and instead they like the convenience of having one place to do it all.
I mean, that's the idea. That's the idea that the company has. And you were just asking me before we went on the air, Aaron, you were like, well, what is to stop like a Robinhood from doing this? And the answer is Robinhood. Only Robinhood can stop Robinhood. If they want to do it, if they want to be like SoFi and offer personal loans and credit cards and insurance, they can do it. They just haven't. That's not to say they won't. But in theory, there's nothing stopping them.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine obviously there's going to be a lot of regulatory, hoops that they'll have to jump through to get to that point if they want to become a bank or offering personal loans. But that could be something that Robinhood looks at down the line if they say, hey, look, we've got this money to spend. Let's try to take some market share away from SoFi. I think we will see some competitors come in eventually, saying, hey, look, we're also an all-in-one app that you don't need to go through to other places to do your investing, checking, personal loans. But it seems like right now SoFi is definitely the leader as far as someone who has an all-in-one app. They're obviously spending a lot in marketing, endorsements. They have the name to that football stadium out in Los Angeles. Solar Up's asking, can you explain the student loan portion of SoFi's business plan, the status of that financial arm, and the timeline for potential return to norm? The short answer to your question, SoFi is no, or Solar Up is no, I can't, but we can certainly look into that.
Just to going back to the regulation thing, SoFi, to my knowledge, still has not gotten their bank charter. To my knowledge, that was my bull case, like a year ago. Well, not a year ago. They didn't go public a year ago. I don't remember. They were still a pre-SPAC, but that was always the bull case. Was they're going to get a banking charter and they're going to be allowed to operate as a bank. It's taking a very, very long time. I know they acquired this smaller bank called Golden Pacific that was thought to speed up the process and assure that they would get the banking charter. They haven't gotten that yet, to my knowledge. It's supposed to be December, Justin says. Thank you, Justin. We've been waiting on this for the entirety of 2021. Frankly, some people, I'm sure, way longer than me, because I've only owned the stock for a few months. So that's going to be a catalyst. Solarup's question about the student loan portion. I'll be honest, I don't know much about their student loan refinancing. I know they offer it, but that's kind of all I know. I don't. My thought here was like, they're going to do everything. They're going to do everything. Any financial service you need, they're going to do it. That's why I bought the stock. And I guess, look, at the same time, I can acknowledge that this move in the last couple of weeks from 15 to 20, right, is kind of dumb. I thought it was dumb at 14, but I also think it's kind of dumb to go up, 33% in a couple of weeks. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, we were down here at $16 at the beginning of the month, and now we're at, about 20.5. So very big move for a stock. But I mean, look, Spencer, we saw it got beaten down back here in early summer in June. So, this is one of those things. It could just be more of a technical move than anything else. Before we move on to the other big news, Spencer, the Bitcoin futures ETF that opened, I do have a couple other kind of stocks that are on my multi-bagger watch list, ones that I think, hey, there's definitely downside and risk. But if you allocate, what I'm doing is allocating a very small portion of my portfolio to these stocks, saying, hey, I think this could go, 5x over the next 10 years or so. And one of those is QuantumScape. So QuantumScape, is an EV battery company. And this company has no revenue, no track record, nothing of the sorts. The stock ran up back when all the other EV stocks were running up in December of 2020, got all the way up above $100 and has just gotten crushed down to $22. Nothing exciting coming out of the stock in the short term or anything. But if they get this, solid state battery right, and, they fulfill some of the promises that the, CEO has been making and stuff, I think this could easily, be a huge gainer. And again, I have a very small allocation of my portfolio to this, Spencer, because I think it's completely feasible that this stock goes from 24 down to 10, or, just keeps going down. But there's that chance.
Where are you in from?
I am in from back here at $40.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. Hey, you know what? You've shown that you can take some heat, more heat than I took on SoFi. So props for that, I guess.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is, like I said with SoFi, Spencer, I if I were you, I wouldn't mind sitting through some losses because that's not what you're buying it for. Is for short-term games. You're buying it for the long-term chance that, hey, this is going to be, the fintech leader, and so, and their story. I mean, if you would have bought Apple back in 1980, you were sitting at a loss for 20 years.
Yeah, it's never that easy. Not quite, but it's never that easy. Yeah, long-term investing is hard. Doing nothing is really, really, really
I know,
difficult.
Shelly. I know the chart looks oof. It looks bad. It's not been good. And I said they have nothing exciting coming out. Solar Up saying, isn't it several years away from testing their first battery?
Probably.
Sure, probably. The stock is not going to report any revenue or make any money or do anything over the next year, 2 years, 3 years. But hey, maybe this is one of those stocks that I look at 50 years when I'm 50 years old and say, hey, I bought this at $40, and it's one of those. So it's, again, with great growth potential comes great risk.
This is why we diversify. This is why we do that.
QS is not Apple.
For charts like this is why we diversify.
Okay. Mark Zuckerberg was in the chat earlier saying Facebook is ripping. The real Mark Zuckerberg, I think he still sharing or selling like a certain amount of shares every single day?
I don't know if it's every day. He sells every quarter.
Every quarter.
Yeah. He's been doing that for a couple of years now for the initiative that him and his wife are doing. So there's nothing new there. Facebook, I mean, I still hate it. I know it's up $20 in the last week, but I still hate Facebook. So I'm not going to change.
And then Mark Zuckerberg in the chat also brought up Netflix, which we spoke about a lot yesterday. Netflix reports earnings this afternoon. The stock is trading down about 0.5%. So I don't know what to make of that, Spencer. You know, maybe big institutions are selling ahead of earnings, saying, "Hey, we don't want to, risk."
I don't know. AB, do you want to hang out with us after the close when Netflix earnings come out? I think they usually are out at like 4:05. Let me check. Actually, you can check that in the pro when like what time a company usually reports earnings. I'm gonna do that right now.
I have a meeting.
Mitch and I are gonna hang and watch the earnings come in.
I have a meeting at 4, but depending on what time the call is at.
All right, they're usually out at like 4.
Wait, it says. Oh, you're talking about the actual earnings, not the call.
I'm talking about the actual earnings. They're usually out at like 4:01, 4:02, based on the last several quarters for like 4:02, 4:01. They're usually out right after the close. So it's gonna be fun.
So I did yesterday. If you were hanging out with Chris Capri and I did have some open Netflix calls, and he, kind of, I'm not going to say urged me, but he told me what he would do, and he said he would take his profits and sell, and I'm glad I did, because if I held on to those calls into today, they would have been down a bit. I did, but so today, really the only open option contracts. Well, I'm holding this kind of more longer term swing call on QuantumScape, just in case that stock starts to take off, because it looks like we were kind of at a point where some buyers were coming in. But I don't feel great about that one. I did buy some more Baba calls, like I mentioned, Spencer, basically every red day while Baba's still showing strength. I've been playing some of these options. So this one's up about 8% right now. Nothing really going on in my portfolio. I do have some buying power after selling those Netflix calls yesterday. A lot of it's margin though. So if anyone's got any moves I can make, I'm all ears. I'm ready to dive into a new stock, a new play. But I have to like the thesis. You can't just tell me, oh, go buy calls on Robinhood, for no reason. I want a good thesis. I want to understand the trade. I think that's very important, because then that allows me to, if it doesn't work out, saying, okay, here's where my thinking was, why I did this, why it didn't work out. I think that allows me to become a better trader.
Chris was on the stream yesterday. You can go check that out. I'm looking at my portfolio right now, which I don't do very often, AB. And I think it's always good to have, like, you want to have a balance. Like, I don't always want to be like crazy, super off the wall, excited about everything that I own. You know what I mean? Like I want to. I like the idea of having like a couple of like whatever you want to call them, like YOLO positions or whatever, like YOLO trades on. The rest of it is, I like boring, right? So I've got my SoFi, which qualifies as a high flyer, in there. I've got Airbnb in there. I've got 50 shares of that, small position. And that's all I've got on like the sexy front, I feel like, right now.
Airbnb is on my potential multi-bagger watch list.
Is this list written down somewhere, or is it in your head?
No, I actually got it written down right here.
Oh yeah, I bought Airbnb at, what's my cost basis? 153 is where. What is it at now? It's at 171. All right.
Right now on my potential multi-bagger watch list, I have SoFi, I have QuantumScape, I have Airbnb, and then that's and Sunrun.
Okay, that one's been a crazy high flyer. What's Sunrun at?
I don't know, but wait, Spencer, look at this. You were talking about YOLO. I bought some shares of the YOLO cannabis ETF. I think this is my first ever cannabis.
Can I ask why you chose that over
MSOS?
No, not necessarily. There's 8 or 9 cannabis ETFs. Why'd you pick that one?
I like the name.
Oh, you see, that's a real thing. People will buy. There is a genuine ticker premium out there, and this is actually a good segue, Aaron, into the Bitcoin thing, because there's 2 Bitcoin futures ETFs. One opens today, one opened tomorrow. The one that opens tomorrow, I suspect, is gonna get the. I think my hot take here is they're gonna be the winner of the 2. They're gonna get the most assets because their ticker is BTFD, as opposed to the ETF that opened today. The ticker is BITO. BITO is boring. BTFD is fun.
So wait, let me pull this list back up. So I went to the sector ETFs list on Robinhood. We're gonna do a quick scroll through.
I've never been here before.
And point out the tickers that we think are fun. Obviously, you got YOLO up here. That is
wait,
fun.
wait. Why do you have? I own what? I think I own iClean.
Why do I have that?
Oh no, I don't. I almost bought iClean. I didn't. Never mind. I was gonna buy it, but then
I bought that at the same time I bought YOLO.
Okay.
Actually, I was like, yeah, these ETFs look good to me. iClean, kind of fun. Not really though. Scrolling down.
Yeah, it's fun. It's like renewable energy. That's fun.
Moon is Directions. Moonshot Innovators ETF. Let's see. We have MVP, which is Round Hill Pro Sports Media.
That's a sexy name with a good ticker.
MOO is VanEx Agribusiness ETF.
Yep. That's interesting.
5G.
Wait. What are we looking at here? Are these all ETFs that you own?
No. These are sector ETFs. Just on Robinhood.
These are just.
I the only 2 that I own. They put the 2 that I own at the very top. YOLO and iClean.
Oh, is that what? That's the check mark. Got it. Okay. Cool.
Moon. We got Moon. We've got. Let's see.
You know what? I have like 10 shares of UFO, the space ETF.
Yeah, see, that's a fun one too.
Yeah. That's what I think.
Wood is iShares Global Timber and Forestry ETF.
Nah, you don't need the wood. That if you're buying wood now, you're like 7 months too late. So
I agree. Beds Advisor Shares Hotel ETF.
Pass. You see, you can. That's the great thing about ETFs is there's an ETF for almost everything and anything. You can get industry specific. Like
here's your UFO.
Like hotels, or space. That's the best part about ETFs.
Smog is VanEx Low Carbon Energy ETF.
It's the same as iClean, more or less. They're different, but they're similar. Someone on the chat made an interesting comment, and I want to go find it now. He said, who said it? I forget who said it. They said, never buy an ETF on the first day. I wish I could find who said that. And the idea, I'm scrolling. I'm not going to find it. Whoever said that, I'm sorry that I'm not going to be able to. Okay, forget it. Not going to find it. If you said that if that was you, claim your price. Never buy ETFs on the first day. Wait for them to shake out a little bit. I think the sentiment that was expressed there. Maybe it was you, Patrick. That it's not quite what Webcoin said. It's not quite the same as like an IPO, right? Because you're tied to the ETF is tied to something else. As an example, there is some funkiness that usually happens on the first day. So, for example, AB, can you pull up a chart of BITO?
Yes, sir, I can.
You can show us where it opened at. I'll tell you where it opened at, but I want to see the chart. It's trading at. It opened at a premium to net asset value. It opened at like 40. Well, it opened at 40.88, and then it went to 42.15. $2 over the NAV. The NAV is 40, right? So there's some funkiness there off the open for sure. But it's gonna trade. Can you get to it? Thank you. It's gonna trade with Bitcoin futures. I've never really heard of somebody waiting. Somebody who wanted to buy an ETF like waiting just a day. I can understand not wanting to buy off the open, for sure, but it's going to trade at right now it's 94. It's trading at 94% premium to NAV. I mean, what's the spread? The spread looks tight. It's a 1 cent spread. So you're super liquid. So this is trading is working as it's supposed to right now. There's nothing really crazy going on with BITO today. Now, what happens tomorrow when you get BTFD as well is interesting. And now you have 2 Bitcoin futures ETFs. And in addition to all of this, can you pull up the GBTC, please? Because Grayscale filed with the SEC today to convert their trust into an ETF. This is not a shoo-in. This is not a shoo-in. This is a 1 minute chart. This would be, if this were to get approved, it would definitely be the most exotic Bitcoin related security we have in the US. Because the BITO and the BTFD, those are ETFs tied to futures. There's nothing really that crazy about it. It's just like any other futures-based ETF. The GBTC becoming an ETF would be very different, and it would open the doors up to a lot of other investors. Yes, Neal will be on at 1 o'clock. Neal will be on in a half hour. Whoever asked that, Shay. I know you all miss Neal. We miss Neal too. So I'm watching the space. I'm watching the BITO. We'll watch the BTFD tomorrow. But I do suspect that, when it's always a race to get assets, right? When you have a new ETF, they typically will launch with money already in the fund. They'll go out and they'll shop themselves to investors, and they're going to open with money already from some institutional investor somewhere, right? And from there, though, it's typically a race to $100 million. If you can get your ETF to be above $100 million in assets, you made it. That's like the bar. Typically is for like a success. If the ETF can't really gain any traction, doesn't see any inflows, it's liable to get shut down. It happens all the time. It happens every week, right? ETFs close. When that happens, you just get your money back. There's no harm for you, the investor. But we're going to see which Bitcoin futures ETF gets the most. I suspect it'll be BTFD because it's got the cool ticker, as evidenced by Aaron Bree, who bought YOLO because it had a cool ticker.
Yep. So,
there's that.
Speaking of YOLO, again, curating some ideas from the chat. Anyone's got any trades I can make? Would love to do it live on the show.
Let me look at my portfolio here. Anything jumps out to me that's like hot right now? Do you want to like buy the dip in Kathy Wood?
Someone said that. Someone said buy calls on the ARKK.
You know what? Wait, pull up mine though. Pull up the ARKW. That actually does not look that terrible. We're basically right at a triple top right now.
And this is explain how ARKW is different from ARKK.
ARKK is the flagship fund from Ark. It's got a little bit of everything. This one, like it's got technology, it's got fintech, it's got some biotech, it's got a little bit of all for funds, right? The ARKW is like just technology. It's no biotech. If I want a biotech fund, I own IBB. I don't need more biotech, right? So it's got just technology, just Tesla. I'll be honest, I'm blanking on I'm pull up the top holdings right now because it's been a while since I've looked at it. And she's always changing stuff. So top holdings in the ARKW, Tesla, great, the GBTC, Coinbase, Twitter, Teladoc, Roku, Unity, Square, Shopify. It's all tech. No real fintech, aside from I guess Coinbase. No biotech, none of that. Just a broad technology fund. That's why I bought it. We're at some resistance here. I don't hate this chart.
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg in the chat saying Kathy corrected her earlier mistake of having too many small caps. There were some, what's the one I'm trying to think of right now? NNDM. There were some holdings in there that just never. Whoa, wait. Look how similar those charts look. Hold on. There's the nano chart. Now let's pull up AR.
Wait, no. Don't pull it. Overlay. Come on.
I do that.
Compare.
ARKW.
Yeah. You're gonna have to zoom way in. Yeah, I mean, look at that correlation. Wait, yeah, look at that. That's funny.
Well, that's because, I mean, maybe it's just because Nano Dimension is in like the chip space and next generation ETF. I have no clue. But either way, Nano Dimension was one of those stocks that like people kept buying because they're like, oh, Kathy's buying it. It's got to be good. And then it kept going down. So I've been, I don't know. I hate the people that are like so anti Kathy Wood for some reason. Like it seems like she gets a lot of hate on Twitter for as much love she gets. She gets a lot of hate, and people are like, oh, okay, yeah, look at the year to date of ARKK or whatever, and it's like, look at the 5-year return. You know, like you can change the time frame to fit your point. So it's funny.
Yep. Kathy gets a lot of, also Kathy like embraces it. I mean, she's kind of a troll too, so she like on Twitter. So she embraces it, I think. But yeah, okay, it's 12:30. We have our first guest here backstage, George Holmes, the CEO of Resonant, ticker RESN, a 5G play. We're gonna have to have George explain Resonant to us like we are 5, because this stuff is complicated, I found. So let's bring George Holmes on here. Do we have where's our fancy special guest bumper?
I'll go ahead and play that for you right now, Spencer.
There it is. George Holmes, welcome to the Power Hour.
Hey, nice to see you.
Good to see you as well. So please, George, explain to us, like we are 5, what Resonant does.
Okay. So Resonant is a IP licensing firm.
Okay.
We license IP to the largest filter manufacturers in the marketplace, and we license IP and designs to them so that they can in turn sell those designs to handset manufacturers. So the real question is, what is a filter? And a filter is the tiny fences that kind of go between the different signals that are coming into your cell phone. And now today there's 100 different filters in your cell phone that really keep all these different signals, massive wide pipe coming into your phone, from colliding.
I think the RF filter, I think that's what I wasn't understanding when I was reading up on you. This is like, so you're basically you're a 5G play. That's what this is.
We have a legacy business that is sub 3 gigahertz, which is 2G, 3G, 4G. Yep. Standard products that we designed, we put on the shelf, and we license those designs to a variety of different customers. And then on the 5G front, we invented kind of a next generation filter technology, leveraging what we call an XBAR based filter. And that is ideally suited for 5G and beyond. So high frequency, high power, wide bandwidth, really does all the things that you want to see in a 5G and beyond filter.
So if your customers are licensing your IP in the filters that they sell, because you don't actually sell the filters, right?
We design them and they manufacture them on their manufacturing line, correct?
So the more that they manufacture and sell, that's more revenue for you, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So can you speak a little bit to that demand and just what you've seen from your customers as far as the amount of RF filters that have shipped this year, maybe compared to last year or 2 years ago?
Okay, so let me back you up a little bit and talk to you about licensing companies in general, because that is something that all investors get really excited about, because they remember when ARM, as a licensing firm, a couple billion in revenue, sold for over 30 billion. So they think about that model and get really, really excited about it. But what they don't understand is the time it took ARM to get from no revenue to that $2 billion time frame was 15, 20 years. It took them 10 years to get their first $1 million in revenue. And the reason being is because they get paid as a percentage of the end product sale. We went down that path for about 3.5 years, licensing designs to the major filter manufacturers in sub 3 gigahertz. And what we identified is it was going to take a very long time to stack up the number of designs it would take to get the company to cash flow break even. So we looked at the model, and then we said, okay, as we develop new technologies, if we had a truly cutting edge technology, we could probably change the model a little bit to make it so we get paid first and not have to be concerned about how successful our customers are in the marketplace. Because even the largest customers, the Broadcoms, the Qualcomms, the Qorvos, the Skyworks, they don't see all of their designs that they win go into production. it's 50 to 60% of the sockets they win actually truly get into production. So for us as a licensing company, we only get paid on a per unit royalty basis when our customer actually ships product. So we changed that model a little bit when we came out with our XBAR technology. And the reason we were able to do so is because that resonator, that XBAR filter, is so unique and so novel that we're able to actually get paid in advance.
What exactly was unique about it?
It's the fact that it actually operates natively with greater than 10% bandwidth. So what you want to see in a 5G filter is very wide bandwidth. And in some cases, we're seeing north of 20% bandwidth as the requirement for these devices. And that's just so you can get a wide, clean pipe coming into the phone. And these devices, these XBAR-based filters, natively operate that way. We don't have to do things like scandium dope or subband 2 devices, so 2 lower frequency devices, combining together with switches to create a wide bandwidth pipe. We do it all natively with a single device. So very, very unique, very novel, and it's something that we were able to demonstrate about 1.5 years, almost 2 years ago now, and then ultimately contracted with the world's largest filter manufacturer to design and develop devices specifically for them. And that's an announcement that we made. Again, a follow-on development for them. We just announced 2 weeks ago, and that is Murata.
Right.
Not a company well known in the U.S., but very well known on a worldwide basis as not only a passive component manufacturer, but also the largest RF filter manufacturer with 30 to 40% market share.
So can you paint a picture for us, George, in terms of just RF filter demand right now?
Oh, well, I think that the most interesting thing to think about, let's talk about it just per device, because that'll give you a real good idea at the scale that we're seeing these RF filters grow to. The first iPhone had less than a couple of handfuls of filters in that device. Today's most recent iPhone, about 100 filters in that device. So if you think about the number of devices that are actually being designed and developed on an annual basis now just to support the major filter manufacturers, we're talking in the tens of billions of units annually. So big numbers. These devices are very, very small. So when you're putting 100 of these devices in a cell phone, you're thinking about very, very small devices that in and of itself, the filter is about the size of a grain of sand.
George, I got a question that I don't know if you're going to have a great answer for me for, but how come sometimes, when I'm using my cell phone, it says I have fine service, I've got 4 bars or whatever, and then my Twitter or something won't load?
Dude.
Well, I can be tech support for you, and let's see what we can do here. No, actually, it's a great question, because these are real world experiences that we all have, whether it be talking on the phone and then running adjacent applications. When those applications aren't working well, that means you're getting channel to channel interference, and so you could easily block out a full section of the data path that's coming into your phone if you don't have good filters. This is a great example of filters not working well. Another great example of filters not working well, and we've all had this experience, we're talking on the phone for 5 or 10 minutes and our phone starts getting hot. Well, the reason your phone gets hot is because you're not getting good connectivity and the filters aren't working well, and the power amplifiers that are connected to the antenna are turning up the gain to try to continue to transmit and receive that signal. And as they turn up the gain, more power is generated, more heat's generated, your phone gets hot, your battery levels drop to drop to a very low level. And that's a real world experience that we have when your filters aren't working well. Your experience is another one. Multiple different applications trying to work at the same time. You can't do it if the filters aren't doing their job.
Got it. Thank you.
This is going to be even more important as we look at 5G and Wi-Fi 6E. So now you're seeing the new Wi-Fi 6E category, and that requires tremendous rejection at the high end against things like AWB. So these are new applications that are coming out as these next generation phones come out, and you want all of these functions to be able to work simultaneously, and they can't do it without good filtering.
I was going to ask about 6G because I heard about that for the first time like a month ago.
Well, it's been going on for a while.
Okay.
A little over a year ago, the FCC opened up the higher end of the frequency band and actually created Wi-Fi 6E, which creates an opportunity in the 7 gigahertz range. And now you're rapidly approaching some of these higher frequency applications like AWB. And what that requires ultimately is it requires filters that have very steep angles, so they look like very much like a square wave. Very steep angles, so they have great rejection channel to channel. So you don't want your Wi-Fi bumping up against your cell call. You don't want your Bluetooth signals bumping up against. You don't want, all the different signals. You don't want your neighbor's phone call bumping up against yours. All of these things require really good filtering.
So George, how do you sell someone who was maybe skeptical on 5G? On 6G, we're already moving on to the next one, and we haven't even all gotten the 5G implemented yet.
I got conned. I bought a 5G enabled phone, and I don't have 5G in my area. I got conned.
Well, that's the tremendous thing, right? I mean, as we look at these different standards, right? Standards take a long time to develop, they take a long time to deploy, and they have tremendously long life cycles. A life cycle of a generation in cellular is 20 to 30 years, right? I mean, you're probably, if you have AT&T as a service provider, you've probably over the course of the last 2 or 3 months gotten a phone call where they're telling you they're turning off 3G in your area. They're trying to move everybody up to either a 4G or a 5G phone. They want to turn down that old service. That happens as these technologies life cycle out. But still today, if you look at where we are in 5G, lots of hype, with the latest, introduction of the iPhone. Hey, should I run out and buy it? Is it going to give a tremendous 5G experience? Yet what we've learned with the teardowns of these new phones is that the RF front end is very much the same as what was in the last generation phone, which was kind of the first entree into 5G. And in large part, that's because the networks aren't fully deployed. You see right now, we all see the commercials where T-Mobile's got nationwide coverage. They show their competitors having less coverage. Depending on what area you live in, you might have very good coverage. If you're in downtown Chicago, Verizon's going to be your guy. They've got great coverage there. And what we're going to see over the course of the next couple of years as deployments continue, we're going to see that the performance that you get in your phone is going to increase. It's going to start at places where we have high density, like in stadiums, at airports, convention centers. So there's going to be the first ones to get this massive 5G deployments, and then starting to expand out into the rural areas, so that a couple of years from now we'll be seeing full 5G connectivity. And we'll be able to get that rich user experience that we all have seen on television is going to be there for us, whether it be, virtual reality, near virtual reality on our phone. For me, the thing that's most important, and I've talked about this before, I'm at the airport, running through the airport, late to an airplane, and I know I've got, 4 or 5 hours on the plane. I just want to get the latest movie that I want to download onto my phone so I can watch it on the plane. Well, today, that's a 20 to 30 minute exercise using airport Wi-Fi. With full 5G in the airport, that's going to be 30 seconds. I can get a couple of movies on my phone and get ready to go on that next plane flight.
Got it. George, real quick, I got the stock chart pulled up here. What do you attribute this big run up that we had back in late December, early January, and February of this year?
We got caught up in the same uptick that a lot of micro cap and small cap companies did with all the things that were happening in the first quarter. It's interesting, as a micro cap company, we look at the stock price, and we really do believe we're an undervalued entity given the contracts we have in place, the fact that we have line of sight to cash flow break even as a small microcap startup. And we've got the biggest partner on the planet is our customers. So we think the value should be higher, but at the end of the day, the stock price is what it is. Can't really do a lot about it. We hope that our investors are happy with the work that we're doing. We get a lot of good feedback, and we continue to be focused on running and growing the business. And the stock price will do what the stock price does.
George Holmes, CEO of Resonant, ticker RESN. George, thanks a lot for explaining some of this to us, because I feel like I should know more about it than I do, but it's like inside baseball networking stuff. So I appreciate you taking time to explain it to us. Thanks a lot, George. All right. Okay, it's 12:46. AB, we're gonna have Neal Hamilton on this show. Before we get Neal on, maybe is that what you said?
I don't know. I mean,
wait, but before we go to Neal, though, I just want to do a quick crypto update. Can we do one of those?
Yeah. Let me go ahead and get.
In honor of this, on the first day of our Bitcoin Futures ETF, we are in the green in Bitcoin, up 1.5%. ETH joining the party. Nice to see you, Ethereum, up 1.68%. Yesterday's big winner, Dogecoin, not so fast today. Let's pull up some individual charts. Can you go into your pro for me, AB, and pull up some Bitcoin or ETH or some Solana or Binance coin? Chat, what cryptos are you watching today?
I can do that, Spencer. I also see Ron Hart in the chat. I think he's catching up. He might be a little behind, but he's asking what ETF is the best. What ETF ticker is the best yet?
Oh, what's the ETF ticker? That is a great question, Ron. Maybe we'll do a whole show about that. Personally, I'm partial to verbs. There are some ETFs that are verbs that I think are great. Moo, which we mentioned earlier, is a good one.
I like one that I like is Neal, which is Directions Home Builders. It just makes sense. It's a home builders and supplies leveraged fund, and it's called Neal. It's fun. There's some other fun one as well. As we'll have to do a whole segment on that. One day Raz was on here and he got me. He was razzing me and was like, "Oh, type in all these inappropriate tickers," and I was like so gullible. I was like, "Wait, that's a ticker?" And then I typed it in and he'd just be laughing. He's like, "No, you idiot, you schmuck."
That's YOLO's a good one, which you own. I like Moo. I like now I'm blanking.
There's Gush and Drip. Those are fun.
Directions got some good ones. No doubt. I'm blanking now on like good tickers, but Builder, yeah. I'm a big fan of the BTFD that we're gonna get tomorrow. That Bitcoin ETF that's opening tomorrow. I'm a big fan of that one. BTFD. That's good.
What'd you ask for, Spencer? You asked for
Bitcoin. Pull up Bitcoin, please. Pull up Bitcoin so we got off track there. This is a daily, just what I want to see. Okay. Hey now, what is that high from April? AB, we're right there.
Yeah, I think we got up to 64,000 back in April.
Okay.
Yep, 6490. It looks like, or 64,900.
We're on the precipice. Yes.
Sure. I don't. You can't use those big words with me. But if you're saying we're right on the doorstep, then I agree.
We're on the precipice of the doorstep. How about
that? Sure, the doorstep of the doorstep. Back here, if you remember, Spencer, when we had this weakness, it was all doom and gloom. People were saying, "Oh my God, Coinbase, Bitcoin traffic and transactions have gone down 80%." All this, a lot of tech.
Yes, yeah, you're right. And we saw that in our business because Bitcoin search traffic and referral traffic, and we saw it firsthand. May was wild, June was not. Right. We saw a massive decline in general search interest in Bitcoin.
And a lot of pure technical traders were saying, Oh yeah, technicals are saying this is going back down here to 18,000, and it shows you that technicals can be a great tool for trading all this, but it's not an end all be all. You can't say, oh, this is for sure going here because of technicals, or it's for sure going to bounce here. Things happen. So we saw buyers come in at 30,000. Obviously, that's a big psychological level. Anytime you get these round numbers, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. I imagine 75,000 will be a big psychological level for Bitcoin. It plays into it, but yeah, it's interesting looking back on it now, because at the time it certainly seemed feasible. Hey, we could continue dropping, another 30, 40%. But as it turned out, we got some buyers. We've showed strength since then. And now we're right back up to all-time highs.
The thing you always have to remember with Bitcoin, Shelly's saying, oh, the volume is decreasing though, but you have to account for the meme factor here, or not the meme factor, for the viral factor. Because we're at the rate that we're at, we're going to make a new all-time high in Bitcoin in a couple of days. Okay. And when that happens, because it happens every single time, word's going to get around. It's gonna be in every headline, in every news outlet in the world that follows this stuff, right? It's gonna be on Good Morning America and the Today Show, which are the big morning shows in the U.S., right? Bitcoin new all-time high, and if that weren't enough, we're coming into Thanksgiving. I'll never forget what Bitcoin did the week after Thanksgiving 2017. It went ridiculous because everybody was talking about it with their families. That's not for another month. But my point is, when Bitcoin makes new highs, you have to account for the viralness of that, which very often leads to new all-time highs. So it wouldn't shock me for a second if you see a massive volume spike in the next couple of days, couple of weeks, couple of months, if we can get to new highs here, because that's what Bitcoin does. It makes new highs, and people get really, really, really excited.
Yep. Spencer, I've got an interesting chart pulled up on my other screen right now. Let me get it pulled up.
Is it related to crypto?
No.
Okay, so before you go to that chart, I want to remind everyone that, hey, speaking of Bitcoin going to the moon, you can get $50 in Bitcoin for free. All you have to do is go to Voyager, download the app, fund your account with $100, use the offer code ZING, and make your first trade. And then they'll give you free Bitcoin. Funny how that works out. AB, what chart were you looking at?
I was looking at, so I saw Webcoin put in a definition for precipice in the chat. I wanted to see if there were alternative definitions. So the definition for precipice from Google: a very steep rock face or cliff, especially a tall one. Spencer, I don't know what you're trying to insinuate there. If you think that, we're about to fall off a cliff here, I have no clue. But this is the chart for use over time, precipice. All the way up here back in 1826. We saw it peak up here, and then we had a big sell-off and come all the way down here before buyers came back in and started using precipice a little.
Wait, when was the bottom? The 90s?
The bottom was in 1990, particularly. So
we are in a 30-year uptrend.
Yep, it's been showing strength for the past 30 years. Spencer, I don't know, maybe you've been reading some Jane Austen or something.
Yeah,
from back here.
I was reading Mark Twain over the weekend.
Mark Twain. Hey, shout out Mark Twain's a Missouri guy. Do you know his real name? Bonus points.
Everyone knows his real name, Samuel Clemens.
Shit. I thought that was like a
everybody knows that.
I thought that was like a Missouri fun fact.
That's not a fun fact. Oh man. Anyway, okay. No, I said Bitcoin is we're on the precipice of new highs, meaning like we're right there. Like if we're on the cliff.
Okay,
but,
I see it. I see it.
And you're going to go over the cliff. We're on the That's the precipice. We're on the precipice there. Going to go over into new highs is what I was trying to say with that.
Got it.
My language is too advanced. My diction is far too advanced for this show. I need to.
Yeah, great diction, great vocabulary displayed there. I saw someone else in the chat threw out Run. I'm going to pull that up on my Benzinga Pro. So I like Run a lot long term. I do have some questions, I guess you could say, for the company. Oh, wow, Run's ripping today.
Yeah.
This is in my long-term portfolio, in my IRA.
Wait. You hold individual stocks in your IRA? I didn't really know you could do that. Maybe I guess
Yeah,
you
dude, you can trade options in your IRA.
All right, that's stupid.
Well, you can. I think a lot will
That's dumb.
I think a lot will
That is dumb. Anyway,
prohibit you from doing so.
Continue.
So Run, if you're unfamiliar with the company, is aiming to be like the leader in residential. So let's just read the overview. It's better than me giving it. Sunrun provides homeowners with clean, affordable solar energy and storage. I gotta get this thing is blocking me from being able to read it.
Oh, right.
All right. Whatever. Design development. So here's my one, I guess, question for the company is it's aiming to be the leader for residential. So you're building a home now and you want solar panels. Sunrun is the leader in providing those solar panels to homeowners. I would like to see them get into the B2B kind of commercial space. I don't know if there's going to be enough homeowners building homes, individuals, people like you and I, Spencer, as customers. I think I'd like to see them say, hey, we're partnering with Walmart. We're going to provide solar panels to all Walmarts across the country. I think things like business partnerships along that nature will really take Sunrun to the next level. But I am bullish long-term clean energy. And I think this is one of the individual names in clean energy that will be an industry leader that will outperform the rest of the industry.
See, that's why I looked at a fund like iClean, which I ended up not buying it, but iClean's got Sunrun and all the other ones. So I just, diversify.
Jay Rice saying he's been trading options in his IRA for 20 years.
Damn. All right.
Good on you. Good on you, Jay. Christian Gallagher.
I mean, good on you if you can make money off
it. If you've been making, I assume he's making money because why would I do it for 20 years if he's been losing money?
I suppose. Can you pull up Tesla for a second here, man? Because we're gonna get Tesla earnings tomorrow, and I just wanted to look. I looked at this yesterday, and I want to reaffirm it again today. That Tesla, if you go back and look at the data for the last 3 years, Tesla is more likely than not to trade higher after its earnings reports.
That's foo-foo, Spencer. You don't know what Tesla's going to do after its earnings reports.
You're right. I don't know. But I'm saying it's more likely than not to trade higher 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, 2 weeks after earnings, going back the last 3 years. That's all I'm saying. I know there are a couple of I'm not even talking about like average move. I'm talking about times that you're up versus times that you're down. And it's more like it's twice as likely to trade higher than it is to trade lower. Following earnings reports.
Christian Gallagher, yes, I had a Netflix call yesterday that I ended up selling before market close because Chris Capri, that guy, he knows what he's talking about. And sometimes I like to take advice from people that know more than I do or that they've been doing it longer than me. So that's one where I say, hey, Chris Capri is telling me to do this. Or he said, if I were in your shoes, I would do this. And I'd say, you know what? I'm going to listen to that guy. He's a good guy, knows what he's talking about. I sold my Netflix call. Bought some more Baba calls today. Let's check in on how those are doing.
AB, you and I need to sell some calls together. Okay? Or sell some puts. You want to sell some puts on something?
Yeah, but let's see. Like I was just saying that I like to listen to someone who knows more than I do. Let's get like Rob Roy on and have him walk us through it.
Okay. Well, let's you and I sell some puts on something. Let's make some money. Let's get some income.
Yeah. I mean, so selling puts particularly, I know enough to be dangerous. I know you want to do it on stocks you'd be willing to hold at that lower price. So maybe we can do it on a stock like SoFi. Like say like, oh, I'd be willing to buy SoFi at $17. So we're going to sell puts at $17, whatever. Yeah. Patrick Starr's asking what happened to your AMC calls. So Luke and I bought AMC calls. They were actually in his portfolio. We split the risk, split the equity. The trade ended up working out. So lo and behold, now it's not Luke and I's trade. It's now just Luke's trade because it worked out and was profitable. But Luke actually, I don't know if it was by accident or on purpose, but exercised the option instead of selling the contract for more money than he bought it for. So then Luke had about, I don't know, I have like 500 shares of AMC or however many contracts we had. And then we sold them yesterday while the stock was up 5%.
Wait, why didn't he come on the show and do that?
Luke is a busy guy.
Man. All right, we'll have to get Luke on the show. I mean, yeah, Luke has an open invitation to come back. Same with Neal Hamilton. He has an open invitation to come on the stream. Oh, wait, there he is. Neal. Wait. Hey, there he is. Hey, how was New York, man? I saw you.
Oh, yeah. It was good. It was good. Thanks for your help on that.
Okay.
It was the Benzinga Cannabis Capital Conference. Those of you that tuned in, thank you very much for watching. And Spencer, thank you very much for holding it down at headquarters here. And AB, just thanks for being you.
Wait, I was holding it down more at headquarters than Spencer was.
Is that true, Spencer?
Spencer was home.
I wasn't physically at the headquarters. I was physically at the home quarters.
You know where the real headquarters is, Spencer?
My house.
Look down. It's right here on the left side of your chest. Right there.
Yeah.
That's where the
well, actually, no.
is.
I have that condition where your organs are inverted, so
It sounds like a very serious condition.
It's the first I'm hearing about this.
I was put in charge. It was very clear. I was put in charge when the company left to New York.
I can't even imagine being in the office last week with Aaron Bree in charge.
It wasn't like Jason or Luke's call. It was Danny G. Mr. Gilbert called me and said, "Hey, man, you got to step up." And I said, "Wow, these are big shoes to fill, like literally." And
Jason's shoes?
No, Luke wears like a size like 14 or
those
something. So I was like, all right, like I'll put on these clown shoes. But it worked out. We survived. Nothing burnt down. Small fire that we had to put out. But nothing actually got burnt down.
What is one thing, Aaron Bree, that if you were the owner of Benzinga for a day, that you would change about the company?
Aaron Bree's salary.
That's not a real
answer.
I like it.
What
cold-blooded.
You know what I would do? I would meet with every single person for 10 minutes and I would say, "Hey, what do you do here?" And I would spell it out in bullet points. And then at the end of the day, I would have 5,500 bullet points and I would organize it and then be happy. What is everything that you do? Tell me everything you do in a given week.
I'm just thinking of Office Space.
I was just talking about that movie yesterday because
and then I would find out how many people do the same thing and don't know it. That's what I would do.
Like the two
I went
of
up
you?
to someone. Yeah.
To some extent.
I went up to someone yesterday and I was like, "Oh, does someone have a case of the Mondays?" And then I don't think they like got the joke from the movie. And
it's old now, man.
It's kind of awkward.
No one sits and watches Comedy Central where they used to rerun it like every, 2 days.
But wait, before we get
that?
yeah. Before we
No,
get
you
to
don't. You're way too young.
No, I remember that.
No, you do, Spencer. This kid doesn't. Okay, what do you want?
I used to watch comedies before. I want to make a lunch bet with Spencer. Spencer just said when Bitcoin hits new all-time highs, it's going to be on Good Morning America. I don't think so. I think they're gonna have like.
Man, I'm not gonna. I'm not about to watch that to know if
they're gonna have like whatever kid, like sold 100 candy bars at a to raise money for they have like all feel good stories. They're not gonna have Bitcoin all time highs.
Yeah, they will.
Haven't
they done it before?
Lunch bet.
That's clickbaity enough for them to have. They'll do that.
I don't know how you. What do you do? The second it makes a new high, it's gonna. No, I don't know when it's gonna be. I don't know. I mean, how do you make a bet out of that? You say Bitcoin makes a new high, and then if in the next 2 weeks it's on, I don't know how you.
Yeah, I don't know how you. The parameters for that bet are
difficult.
Parameters of this bet are stupid. I do think that that's Good Morning America stuff. You won't believe what made this 22-year-old a millionaire. Coming up next.
Okay, that's a story. That's a story that they would have on. But then if they just did Bitcoin all-time highs, their average viewing age is like 60. Then they got to go. So what is Bitcoin? And then have a 15-minute segment trying to explain blockchain to some boomers. I just don't. I think the producers are like, hey, look, that's going to be a big task. We can just stick to our bread and butter, which is
selling Girl Scout cookies
Paid
to raise
segments.
money. Okay, fine. Neal, do you have some charts for us? I bet you do.
Oh, you want me to do charts?
I mean, I thought that's why we're here.
All right.
Hey, we know this one. This is like your number 1 or 2 top performing ETF of the whole year.
Dude, I was in chat earlier and I was trying to ask you, because I know you're the ETF man, Spencer, what your favorite ETF is.
Someone asked what the best tickers were, and I kind of blanked for a minute. Dude,
look at this thing. All right, so B-Dry, let's compare it to what's a popular ETF, like obviously the indices, but what's a popular ETF we can compare it to?
The SPY,
ARKK.
The SPY.
Let's just do SPY and then an ARKK. Hey Aaron, do you see how I can compare it to 2 tickers at the same time?
You do that in Benzinga Pro, my man.
Yeah, I know, but I like this because I can. So anyways, look at this. We've got the percentage gain, and let's just look at the past year. Just looking from the beginning of the year.
You know what's pretty wild? Usually when I look at like ETF performance, I'll strip out the leverage funds because that's basically like cheating, because they of course they use leverage to magnify their gains. So, but if you don't even do that, if you just look at the entire ETF universe, including leveraged funds and inverse funds, look at all 10,000 of them or whatever. The best performing ETF this year is BDRY. It is up 384%.
So okay, so since I got the fundies here, why is that?
I have absolutely no idea.
Oh come on, dude! Supply chain issues. It's dry shipping, bro. Look at this big old dip, and then the rip after COVID.
But
this is March, no?
But it's also a futures based ETF, and those can do some weird things. You've got ships stuck in port right now, not moving. Like that would indicate not
Supply
a good
demand,
thing.
baby. Prices go up. We can't get this stuff to you.
So yeah, that's like that makes sense on the surface, but it's probably more complicated than that.
Yeah, it always is. It always is. But I see chart go up. I like
384% this year.
Madness.
Ridiculous. But within that, you had a couple of tough go. You had a couple of tough periods there. You had some periods where it was the biggest loser. I know because I check every week, and there were some weeks there. There were some weeks there where BDRY was your biggest loser.
There's your problem with one like this. You can't check every week, right?
I know.
All right, let me pull off this comparison. Yeah, B-Dry just ripping. I actually grabbed some because I like what it's doing right now. I wanted to take a look at Bitcoin, but I don't know what you guys have covered. I don't want to cover anything that everyone's already bored with.
I mean, I saw that we're basically coming to a new high right now, almost.
Cover these.
So
yeah, it's about to hit 65,000 again. That's the mark. If it rips through 65,000, put on your seatbelt. All right, now we're looking at this properly. I've been zooming out a lot lately. I've been.
I like zooming out. I like looking left.
These are just like technical buzzwords.
I like to look left. I can look left all the time on the charts and in my life.
Good. Yeah, I'm very pleased with B-Dry. You can see it already hit its sort of price target coming out of this bottom formation, but still some potential there. All right, guys, let me know what tickers in the chat. Let me know what tickers you're not bored with already. And we'll just do the technical thing. We will look at the charts. We will set price targets. We will set stop losses. We will do all of that using our technical analysis prowess. Tilray?
No, not Tilray. Anything but that.
Spencer, okay, am I allowed to look at it, Spencer?
Look at the chart. I mean, what is it to say about Tilray?
So the monthlies, here I can just give you an answer.
Tilray chart's broken because it went to 300 one day.
Tilray, not showing signs of life at this moment. Just draw a line. All right, body. They just passed news like a fart. They just passed news.
We passed it. I passed a news stone last week.
Did you actually?
No.
Have you ever had a kidney stone?
No.
If anyone at Benzinga is going to be out of the office for a kidney stone, Spencer, it's probably going to be you.
It's gonna be me. No, I'm going to be back in the office next week. I'm not allowed to come back in the office this week. I was told don't come in.
Well, yeah, dude.
So
well, I'm really glad to see that you're healthy.
Yeah.
Seeming at least.
I feel good. Wait. Go to Body, Beach Body. Was it a SPAC or an IPO? It was a SPAC, wasn't it? It was a SPAC.
So you're probably looking at Body because you're bottom feeding, right? Bottom fishing is the nice way to say that. So is this a rat snack? I guess is the idea. So you got two things going for you right now. We're looking at the daily. The two things that you've got going is that number one, you've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days of this stock telling you it doesn't want to go below about 510, 511. You've also got the oversoldness happening here, which is often an indication that some buyers are about to come in. However, we don't move until the market comes to us. So with Body, we want to make sure that we're breaking above this level that we keep trying to get above. So we've got our lower boundary at about 510, 511. But we want to get above where this sideways trading is happening at 550. I think a solid day candle body close above 550 is your entry for Body if you want to go long. Until then, there's no telling how long this stock will continue in this direction. There's also the chance that it can just disappoint you and go in the other direction. Don't just buy stocks just because they're cheap. Buy stocks because they're showing you that they want to keep going in a particular direction.
Great.
Blend.
Somebody asked about Blend this morning. I think it was this morning.
Similar situation. I actually don't really. This isn't terribly interesting to me at the moment. Again, you've got this level. So what happened? We opened right here on the 30th of September. And then here on the 29th, we closed at right about $14.08. There are a ton of people that thought they were getting a deal on Blend at this price. And they've been waiting for it to get to this price again so they can break even, so they can dump those shares. They're holding the bag and they just want to flip that bag over and get the hell out. But they're waiting for it to come back up. Well, we've got the big bump up, and then the price of this stock stopped moving because all these folks wanted to dump the bag. So they dumped the bag. A bunch of sellers came in. So you can see like just very clearly from what's happening with the price here, where the buyers and sellers are, where the supply and demand is. There was a bunch of supply right here, and that's what stopped us. Now, we don't have any indication that this momentum that we have is going to continue just yet. Not willing to take any bets on it. However, as a swing trader, if you want to go down to your 4-hour charts, you may look at this as a very short-term pattern. And something that you need to remember about patterns is that the longer they take to form, the more likely they are to resolve in the direction you want them to resolve in. Short-term ones, less likely, more likely to break down, whipsaw, and not go in the opposite direction. But when we're looking at this thing right here, we do have a double bottom. Boom, just like that. Little double bottom. And then this line at the top is what you call the neckline for that double bottom. I'm going to go ahead and use my template for my breakout resistance right there and get rid of this other line that I got. So that's your breakout resistance right there for Blend. So you've got a fairly long period of time sustained downward trend. And then now you have one of the most common trend reversal patterns forming on your 4-hour chart. It's a little bit spotty. But if you get that solid day candle close above this neckline, you might even want to raise that a little bit based on previous resistance. So I'm going to go ahead and just bring that right up. That's where I'm more comfortable. Why am I more comfortable there? Because this wick here in the middle is up there, and that's at about 1422. So I want to see a solid day candle close, or you can go lower than that depending on how aggressive you want to be. It just depends on how much time you got to sit and watch the charts. Candle close above that level before we can target. We go to the lowest point up to the neckline, draw ourselves a line. All right. See how that line lines up with the previous support? That's where buyers were willing to come in the past. And all that is the neckline less the lowest point in our double bottom. You take that number, that difference between those two price levels, and add that to the neckline. That gets you up to about $15.77. And that gets you to an area where the buyers were willing to come in the past. And that's your price target. So what we're going to do here is just get a little more pedagogic with this and go boom, boom, boom.
That chart
target price.
That chart looks like it's rated PG-13, man.
I do rated R charts usually, but I'm trying to. I know that some people are uncomfortable with that. So this is your entry right here. And then the stop loss, I'm usually looking for a stop loss just like 10 or less, depending on how good I feel about the trade. Taking my ruler tool, going down, and the way that I do is I take this ruler, I'm watching the percentage decrease whilst also watching levels. And I can see that there's this next level here of support, which is about halfway up through the double bottom. If this stock breaks down past that, I want out. So I'll say about 7% is going to be my stop loss. So I'll go ahead and grab my line tool and go boom, boom, boom. Stop loss right about there. And then if you get a reversal, remember, scale in, scale out of trades. So this is just the first target price. We'll go ahead and get out the old Fibonacci tool. And we'll go to right about where this trend reversed. Right here, down here. Yep. You got some upcoming targets there. So I can slap another target price here. And then one more target price. And then I'll put the dollar amounts on those. Boom. 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 There you go. That's the trade. All right, Spencer, what do you want to do next?
Why don't you look at this one that AB brought up earlier? The bag, he's holding the bag so hard in QuantumScape. Why don't you take a look at that? I'm curious what you think. I know what I think, but what do you think? Oh, man. Oh, that doesn't look so bad when you put it that way. I mean, it still looks bad. What am I saying?
What I'll say to the folks here, let me know if you guys do this too. Give me a 1 if you do this. Well, Mark is asking if I'll ever buy Palantir again. Yes. I'm not saying that I am doing that right away, but yeah, I would. Let me know. Give me a 1 in chat if you've been doing this. If you remember to do this, give me a 2 if it's something you think you can work on. But lately I've been focusing a lot more on longer time frames. I've been getting more aggressive with day trades and swing trades and stuff like that. And I've neglected to zoom out and look at the broader trend on like my monthly candles. Give me a 1 if that's something that you remember to do and you keep up on it. Give me a 2 if you think that's something that you got to remember to do and maybe work on a little bit more. Yeah, Christopher, I feel you. That's where I was up until very recently. Good job, guys. Good job. When in doubt, zoom out. All right, so we're looking at QuantumScape Corporation, QS. Nothing. So we were a little bit oversold like several weeks back. So nothing terribly interesting there. Let's look at the daily. So this can be interesting because this can be the beginning of an accumulation phase, which essentially is when large market players with a lot of money that actually moves the prices of stocks are gradually buying shares over time so that they can maintain a steady price that they're getting in at, because if they buy it all at once, it drives the price up. And we watch for those. Those are our sort of rounding formations at the bottoms because they precede the next upward trend. So this could be that. But of course, we let the market come to us instead of forcing it something and, assuming a pattern will complete before it actually has done so. So this looks like it could be a little bit of an accumulation happening. One thing I want to do is turn on some moving averages and just see if we get anything interesting here. And we do have something interesting. So if I turn on, and this could happen a couple times during this process as we're trading sort of sideways on this sort of U-shaped thing that we've got going here with QS. The green line is my 50-day moving average, simple. This sort of pinkish red line is my 20, and the deep red is my 200. All right. Let me know what it means when that green 50-day moving average crosses above that red 200-day moving average. Let me know what that is in chat. Spencer, do you know?
No.
Really?
So I was reading the chat when you asked me, so I don't really know what you said.
Oh, what do you call it when the 50-day moving average crosses above the 200-day moving average?
Bullish crossover.
Yeah,
That's
not the cool inside, like cool guy way to put it. But yeah,
no, that's
what it is.
That's a golden cross. Is that a golden cross, Michael? Is that like the technical term for it? A golden cross, maybe. Yeah. Okay.
That's. Yeah.
I always called it like just a bullish crossover. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, both work. That's what it is. A bullish crossover. You know what else is a bullish crossover? Is the 20-day crossing above the 50. I think some people call that a silver cross. Tiny Pie actually got it. That's what I call it. Is a sexy cross. So the 20-day is crossing the 50-day. Some people I think call that a silver cross, which whatever. That can be an indicator. Moving averages crossing shorter term moving averages or faster moving averages crossing above slower moving averages are often an indicator to buy and are a core component of many folks' trading systems. Now, when we're in these accumulation phases, that golden cross is something that's very nice to see. It can happen a lot with really low price stocks, and it just creates noise. But when you're up into like the 25 and higher range, there's less noise there with that. But nonetheless, we've just got there that on here for a little bit of guidance. And you can see that the stock is clearly playing around the green line here, which is this 50. We can probably find another moving average or a combination of moving averages that are more to the tick. But hitting the 50 has been a sell signal here in the past. Selling off and then getting down, crossing below the 20, and then gapping above that 50. But we'll go ahead and turn those off. Moving averages are much more helpful when a stock is in a clear trend, meaning either going down or going up. That's when moving averages are very helpful because they tell you when the stock is pulling back and you may enter, or when it might be getting overextended and you should take perhaps a short position or perhaps take profits. At any rate, I don't see anything here that tells me that now is the time to buy QS, but it is something that I want to watch for. And now the question is, what are we going to watch for the buy signal on QS? What is the interesting thing that may happen with QS that we're going to watch for? Well, let's just predict the future a little bit. Let's grab this guy. So I'm going to go to the last pullback before our rounding bottom started and just draw this horizontally, like that. So with this sort of rounding bottom formation, I want to see us return to these previous levels, this previous level that we tested and could not break out of. And what is that? This is, again, remember, the pullback may happen. But this is a level where folks decided to sell their shares. And it may happen again. The template I'm looking for is my breakout resistance. So I know it's a little bit of a ways to go, but I want to see QS gain about $10 before it looks like something that's healthier and in a healthy upward trend. Now, if you're looking to trade it more actively, there's a lot of things that you can do in the meantime, but I got to tell you, there are more interesting stocks. There are more interesting things happening out there. I'll just slap a price target on that, or a price level there. Does that satisfy you on QS, Spencer?
It does. AB, I hope you're taking notes. He was not. But
no, he's looking at his phone. I can get more aggressive with it though. We can look at Bitcoin for sure, Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark, shouldn't you be busy like running the company or ruining the world? I don't know.
Shouldn't you be busy spying on my family? Ruining the world. Okay, so I've got a lot of drawings here. Little humble brag here. Look at this trade. Remember the double bottom? We started off this segment looking at a double bottom. I forgot what ticker it was. Was it Body?
What, BDRY? Right?
No, it was Body, I think. That had the double bottom. This is what that trade looks like when it comes to fruition, right? Like I gave you a stop loss, I gave you an entry, and I gave you target prices. With Bitcoin, it happened exactly. Even to the point where the exact levels that I lined up as my target prices are support and resistance all the way up as we scale in and out of this trade. So Bitcoin, like all cryptocurrencies that are easily accessible on brokerages that folks can get access to in the US, tends to be very technical and follow a lot of the rules that we like. So looking at Bitcoin on the weekly, I'm just gonna delete all these drawings. Delete everything, and just a plain old chart. This is the level to beat right here. All right, that's the hardcore level. And let me use a rectangle actually, because we've got these wicks here, and especially with something that's trading up into the in 5 digits, you have more of zones than you do exact to the tick levels. This was a supply zone. This is the level where everyone said they're going to sell. Folks are not going to get excited about buying again until it goes above the level they previously sold at. That's how breakouts work. So this is sort of your your supply zone. And you can see that we're getting right up in there. And then that the next leg up is going to be right at about 65. The 65,000 number is a psychological number. It's a round number. That means a lot it means something to people. And in their mind, they say, well, if it gets up to 65,000 or passes it, I'll buy in. Weekly, looking very healthy. So I think I'm going to tell you exactly what you want to hear, which is Bitcoin is in a clear upward trend. It is approaching the previous level of its all-time high, its previous level of resistance. And it looks like if it is able to break above the level I've outlined, they are going to have a breakout. Now, the next question is, what's the price target? One way that you can look at this is just like a big old ascending triangle, for which I'll use my ruler tool. Grab it like this. I'll probably have to move my whole screen actually. And go to the lowest point and then go to that breakout level. And that gets us right up past 100,000. So price target there upon a breakout above 65,000, new all-time high. We're zooming. It's going to ziggy zag. Price target is 100 above 100,000 there, about 101, 102 is what I got earlier.
By when? Do we know?
No, that's not how that works. But I mean, look, the whole market, Bitcoin is a perfect example of this. It follows cycles of accumulation and distribution. So let me get there it is. So we've got this really broad accumulation. When this happened summer 2020, it was very clear that this thing was about to freaking explode. So we've got that accumulation. We've got some distribution right here, followed by the accumulation, and then a broad distribution. The wider the space, the bigger the wider the base, the bigger the space. In this case, it was an inverted base, and so we had a significant drop. But we've now had a pretty wide period of accumulation. So now the question is, are people going to sell again at 65,000? If so, we'll probably get a little bit of a pullback, but we'll probably continue having this sloping line of support. This is what I believe. And if we break down past this sloping line of support, then it's very bearish for Bitcoin. But if we do get above that 65, above that breakout, that's very bullish, very bullish. And then we're looking at the resolution of this accumulation phase, which should get you up to about above 100,000. And your Fibonacci is a useful tool here, but it's going to show you a lot of the same stuff.
Fibonacci.
Is this the real question? Is this the coffee shop guy off that movie Hall Pass? Yep.
Is that your being for Halloween?
Yep. A reference everyone gets.
No.
All right, we're over on time.
Oh, look at that. 1:30. See, time flies when you're having fun with Neal, everyone. Hey, where are we at on the like front? Let's get some likes going for Neal here. Let's get Neal the likes he deserves. He's the chartist that we deserve, just not the one that we need right now. We're only at 80. Let's get to 150 likes for Neal. That'd be nice, I think. Neal, it's good to see you. And next time we see will be Thursday at the same time, right? Thursday 1.
I'm gonna have a surprise on Thursday, I think.
What's
up, Manny?
Is it gonna be your Halloween costume? This is it actually. So.
Yeah, I'm currently in the Halloween costume. Let's just say some changes are happening. Big changes.
Are you gonna like shave your eyebrows?
Close. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me.
You
Spencer.
are quite welcome. Catch you later, Neal. Nealio.
Okay.
Neal. All right. He didn't say haircut. We said maybe. We don't know, Shelly. Well, I tell you what. We'll find out on Thursday. How about that? You have to tune in then. Let's play a quick game for a second. Why don't you all drop some tickers in the chat that are have upcoming earnings, and I will tell you what the historic reaction to those earnings have been in so far back as the last 3 years, the last 12 quarters. Because I told you about Tesla, we are in earnings season, right? So we're gonna get between 5 and 10 interesting ones a day now for the next 2 weeks. So I was looking at Snapchat here. AB, can you pull up the chart of Snapchat for me for a second? Look at the move that Snapchat made after its last earnings report in July. That's Tesla.
That is Tesla. We are going to Snapchat.
Okay. Look at the move that huge gap. that whole thing. Look at that insane move Snapchat made. Now, not every quarter is like that, obviously. However, if you look at Snapchat's closing price on the day of its earnings report to its opening price the day after its earnings report, because Snapchat always reports in the afternoon. They report this week, Thursday afternoon, 2 days from now. If you look at that gap, that day of earnings close to day after earnings open, you get an average move of 7% to the upside going back the last 3 years. The percent change from the close right before they report to the open right after they report, up 7%. Last quarter, it was up 18%. You see that gap there. Snapchat
Cameron Dole in the
Snapchat's
chat
a
saying
mover.
he bought a lotto ticket. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, that's great. Snapchat is a mover. It is a mover. It is a high flyer after earnings more often than not. It's funny because, like, more often than not, Snapchat does trade higher the day after its report. But if you go further out, one day, 2 days, 3 days, a week, 2 weeks, it's kind of a mix. It's kind of 50-50, right?
This is one of those stocks that I think it makes sense to kind of play a strangle on or a straddle or whatever it is when you buy a call and a put and you just need it to move a certain percentage in either way. I would not be shocked if we're down 10% tomorrow, or not tomorrow. Earnings come out Thursday, correct? Friday?
Yep, Thursday afternoon.
So I would not be shocked if Friday morning we're down 10% or up 10% or down 15% or up 15%. What I would be shocked is if we're up or down, less than 3%. I would be absolutely shocked if that happens. I think we will see a big move either way. Spencer, I just saw something. I kind of want to read it on stream, but it's probably not a great idea.
Okay. I don't know what that means, but anyway, Snapchat likely to trade higher Friday morning in the after hours of pre-market, at least based on recent history. That's what I'm going off of. I'm only going off of recent history. I'm not going off the entire history of the stock, just recent history. 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters in a row, stock traded higher in after its earnings report. But like I said, if you go out further into the future, it gets a little bit hairier. It gets a little bit more of a toss up.
Mark Zuckerberg said he bought Snap at 20, sold at 30. There's always these stocks. I was just kind of thinking the same thing. There are always these stocks out there that if you trade long enough, you'll hear a stock get brought up and it's almost like triggering. You're like, oh, like I had that at, $10 and sold it, whatever. Snap was one that if I go back on my history on Robinhood, I was playing it like down here right after the COVID crash when it got all the way down to like $7. I was like, yeah, I'll buy some like $10 calls, whatever. Like people are going to be home a lot. I think people are going to be on Snapchat more because they're on their phones all day, all this stuff. And then I, cashed out, made some money on those plays and that looking back on it, it's like, why did I not just load up on shares at $7, $8, $9, $10? And now the stock's at $77. I've also talked about this before. I don't think a lot of investors maybe understand how big of a stranglehold Snapchat has on like the younger generation, like the, say 13 to 18 age range, which is like the most coveted age range for advertisers when it comes to demographics. Because if you get in at that age and you people build that brand loyalty, you then they can potentially become lifetime customers. So I've said this before on the show, but while I was still in school in college, like I was working at a golf course and I'd, be training. I was like an assistant manager or whatever. So I'd be training these kids. And a lot of times they were like just out of high school, whatever. And like these kids would all be like, yo, let me get your like Snapchat instead of a phone number. Like that was their primary use of communication. Like they don't even text, they'll text on Snapchat in a group. And it's like so foreign of a concept to me. So I think, we'll have to see kind of how Snapchat, uses that because for a long time, it was like, oh, they have a big user base, but they're not great at monetizing, which is of course what people said about Facebook as well. So
I was given a free share of Snapchat when I joined Webull a couple years ago, and I was like,
Really?
oh, really? Snapchat? What a piece of crap! And I sold it right away.
Mine was BCRX on Robinhood, and I've joked about this before too because so I opened my Robinhood account in February of 2020. Let's go back there. February of 2020. So it was about $3, and now it's at 15. So it's about a 5x return. And I was like, if I just would have loaded up on BCRX shares when Robinhood gave me one, my portfolio would be amazing, you know?
The lesson here is never sell anything ever, even if you're down a gajillion %, obviously. Did y'all see? Does anyone care? Do you want to talk about the GameStop report from the SEC? I talked about it a lot this morning. I don't know if anyone, if you missed that on pre-market prep, check it out. I gave some highlights, but I thought the whole thing was a great read. I'll put the link in the chat. If you're into this stuff, if you follow the GameStop frenzy from January and you want to see what the SEC said about it, I'll paste the link in there. Tiny Pie says no GameStop. He doesn't want to talk about it, which is fine. But I thought it was a really interesting read.
I kind of want to read what I was going to read. I'm not trying to be like, I don't know. It might piss some people. It's like not okay. So essentially, Trump came out with a statement about Colin Powell, and literally, I just want to read this.
Colin
Powell. Really?
Really.
Been saying it wrong my whole life.
Oh boy.
Do you want to read the statement?
This is off to a great start.
Should we read the statement? I'm not making any political statement. I don't, I'm a journalist.
Well, you've gone this far. You can't tease it. You can't stop now.
I don't go one way or the other. All right, I'm pulling it up. And this is real, by the way. The first time the Tom Brady one was not real. This one is real. Wonderful to see.
I remember the Tom Brady thing. He got me.
Yeah, he got you.
That was so good.
Tom Shady. Yeah, it was perfect.
That was good.
So wonderful to see Colin Powell, who made big mistakes. Wait, actually, Spencer, can you do it in like a Trump impersonation?
No, absolutely not.
Who made big mistakes? No, I can't do it. On Iraq and famously so-called weapons of mass destruction be treated in death so beautifully by the fake news media. Hope that happens to me someday. He was a classic rhino, which is Republicans in name only. If even that, always being the first to attack other Republicans. He made plenty of mistakes, but anyway, may he rest in peace.
Yes. Anyway, rest in peace, Colin Powell. Holy moly, man. Anyway. That's what I'm gonna say next time I someone big dies. Yeah. Anyway, rest in peace.
Anyway.
We've got a few minutes here. Tim Quas was supposed to join, but he had a conflict, so he can't. So we were going to just hang out with y'all. We do have the roadmap coming up next at 2:00. That's our NFT show. We're talking with Comic Man today. If you don't know who Comic Man is, then what are you even doing with your life? Seriously, the world of NFTs is wild. There is a whole other world if you don't know about it. With influencers and a lot of money, and we routinely get the biggest guests of that world on the Roadmap show. So that's coming up here at 2:00 in the 17 minutes from now. I watch it every time I can because
holy cow,
there is some crazy stuff on that show. Like sometimes not safe for work stuff on that show. What's up, Aaron?
Well, I was going to ask you, when are you going to buy your first NFT? And then I just checked my Robinhood portfolio, and we're breaking out. Out.
In what?
What?
Alibaba? What?
Yeah, I think Baba. Yeah, these Alibaba calls are up. Oh wow,
my gosh,
they're still going.
Hope that. Oh, Alibaba's up almost 5% today. Yeah, see, man, I wish I was good at this, but I am not. It was evident, right, to those of us that are watching Alibaba every day. It was evident. Let me pull up a chart here. It was evident that Alibaba probably was oversold, right? Probably. Whoa. I think AB just left our show. He'll be back. I don't think he meant to do that. It was obvious, right, to those of us watching Alibaba never really should have been down to 140, right? That was kind of silly. How high? Because what's the all-time high? There, he's back. What's the all-time high?
I screwed up. I kind of had a boomer moment.
Yeah, that's all right. So the all-time high was 319, and we got down to 140. That was silliness. Now though, you've gone $34. You've raped $34.
I was gonna say, if you watch this show a lot, there was a couple weeks where I was talking about Baba like every single day. What's the phrase? Ad nauseum.
Ad nauseum. Yeah.
Yeah, and Spencer's like, God, I gotta buy this kid a book.
Dude, yeah, it's gonna be by Colin Powell.
Okay, I mean his name looks like Colin. I don't know what you want me to say. I wasn't alive for like the famous testimony he gave when he held up the vial of whatever. But what I was talking about was like, look, like there is tremendous risk in this trade. Like there's risk. China like comes in, does this, do that. But if you're willing to stomach that risk, take on some of that risk, there's tremendous upside. It's way oversold, yada, yada. And since then, we've seen Baba just be, once it got down to that low point where it kind of reversed, it's shown a lot of strength against the market overall. I mean, it's like every day that Baba's up, it's up like 3 or 4% versus the market 0.5 or 1%. And so what my game plan here is essentially on any red days, any dips, I'm looking at weekly calls. If something looks like a good deal to me, I'm snagging it. I do have some shares as well. You seemed like you didn't like that.
No. Did AB break up for everyone else? Was it just me? I can't tell if it's my internet at home or your.
I think I did. On my screen, I broke up for a second.
You did? Okay, it was you. So you're buying weekly call options on dips. Is that what you said?
Not that simple, but in a way, yeah. That's like one of the ways that I'm playing this move
we're not getting the dip today. I tell you that.
No, yeah, and Luke and I were also looking at leaps. So saying like a year out from now, we're willing to bet that Baba's going to be above $200. So looking at $200 calls that are like a year out, and they're expensive, but I mean, I would just
how expensive? Out of curiosity.
Let's look. I'll pull it up on my screen right here.
Yeah. Like are we talking like a couple dollars?
Oh no, way more.
Way more.
Let's see. Pull this up. I mean, but Baba has a lot of option contracts, so you can go as far out as to like June 2023. So like let's look. So
okay. So
we can go out all the way to January 2024.
No. Let's not do that. So let's do January 20. You want to do January 23?
Yeah, it's about a year. It's like 14 months.
A year and change. Months. Yeah, a year and change. Well, year and a quarter.
So if we wanted to look at $200 ones, it'd be about $23. $2,300.
Oh my gosh, that's expensive. That is so expensive. Dude, this is how they get you. This is how they sucker you in.
Yeah.
You think you have a good idea, but they're priced to perfection.
Well, but dude, look, if you had this column right here, percent change, that's today's change. So if you had this contract, you'd be up 14% today. And that's the bottom line with options is your returns can be better, but it's riskier. So it all depends on like your risk appetite, what you're willing to risk. I like some of these trades because, and I talked about Luke with this too, is it's a very fixed risk as far as how much money you can lose. If I buy one of these contracts for $2,315, that is the max I can lose. It's $2,315, which isn't a small amount of money. That'd be about my whole look. That's like my whole portfolio. My portfolio is like that much right now. I'd have to sell everything to buy that. But you can't lose more than that. It's more like, if you have that money sitting aside, not doing anything, and you're willing to say like, yeah, this could go to zero, then those types of trades can make sense.
Wait a minute. We got to pull up ISRG. Thanks for that webcoin. ISRG, this happens like once per earnings season or less. ISRG's earnings just leaked. They were scheduled to report after the close today, and their earnings are out. Looks like their EPS was in line, $1.19, which was the estimate. I don't have a sales number for you because this was not supposed to be out. This is supposed to be out in 3 hours. So this is This is not great whenever this happens. So let's pull up a chart here. Where's my chart? I just had it up. Nope, that's Alibaba. Go ISRG. Let's go to the 15-minute chart. Let's go to a 1-minute chart, actually. Okay. Yeah. So the news is out. You have a midday leak, which is rare, but it happens. But I don't remember it happening to a company as large as Intuitive Surgical. Usually it happens to some random like mid cap or small cap, right? But anyway, that's why you're down here. I don't know if we got the full earnings. Oh, it looks like I'm seeing revenue in line, EPS in line. But this is I mean the numbers are they are what they are. This is what happens when the market gets caught off guard, right? Nobody was expecting earnings to come out in the middle of the day. Someone at Investor Relations is having a really, really, really bad day today at ISRG. Whether they have their own IR or they use a firm, they're having a bad day today. This is a big mistake. It happens. It's a mistake. It happens. It's not the end of the world, but that's why their stock is down today, because technically, actually, is their stock up? Technically, the stock is in the green from the close, but I'm going from the open, right? And we opened today at 338, and we're down to 335. So we're off that low from a couple minutes ago. What was that low? 333. Or we basically got. Yeah, the low was 333. We opened today at 338. We're at 335 now. But there's your catalyst. So someone's got some splaining to do. I don't know if it's a partial release. I don't know what happened there.
Should I buy a Tesla call?
Should you buy a Tesla call or a Tesla car?
I have money, enough money for one of those two things and not for the other.
All right. Should you buy a Tesla call? Like, you mean for earnings, like a YOLO?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Why don't you take a look at the November? Let's go look at November on Netflix. Forget this week.
You guys should well, I don't think I'll be able to afford those. You guys should go check out. This is a really cool article that's on Tesla's homepage on Robinhood right now. This Halloween costume store has a better 1-year return than the AMD, Disney, Tesla. You know what store that is, Spencer?
Party City.
Yeah, you got me.
Gotcha. Party City low key is a high flying stock. Low key.
Dude, look at the 1-year return on it.
Yeah.
200%. It was down at
okay.
Yeah. It pays to be long parties, guys.
I agree with Cameron. The premium is going to be jacked on Tesla. If you want to, you can.
All right, Cameron, give me another good YOLO trade.
Okay, you want a YOLO trade. You want a YOLO trade. Fine. Let's do.
Yeah, dude, look, these weekly calls that expire this Friday are just as expensive as the Alibaba calls that expire.
Right. You're right.
In
Okay. Let's do. Do you want to look at like if I drop you a ticker, will you look at the chart first and just to get a feel for it? Like you want to let's look at Chipotle.
Oh, God damn it.
What?
I can't sell someone gave me a good tip yesterday. I can go to investing. I can go all the way down. I have 3 out of 4 of my day trades made. I can't make my 4th one or I'll get restricted. And I really want to sell.
Get your balance up. Just deposit more money in there. Get your balance up.
To 25. You think I have that much?
25,000.
We should crowdfund it. Can you give me a loan? Personal loan? A no interest loan?
No. But let's go. We got to make some trades and get that up to 25,
asking.
and then we
it
won't
was
worry
worth
about
asking.
it. So okay, you're not. No. The PDT rule that only qualifies as round trip. Yeah, sells. You can't sell.
Yeah, so I can't close this BABA position. I can open a new trade. I just want to close this BABA position.
So let's open up a trade. Let's open up a trade that you're not going to close this week.
No, I can close it tomorrow. It's literally just not in the same day.
No, that's not the rule.
Yeah, it is. It's day trades.
No. The rule is 3 round trip trades There's a 3 or 4 in a rolling 3-day period. I think it's 3. Rolling
Let's
3.
look at the day trade. 3 day trades. A day trade is the purchase and sale of the same stock on the same day. This section tracks the day trades you've made within the last 5 trading days. Pattern day trade protection is disabled.
It's 3 round trip trades, a buy and a sell or a sell and a buy in a rolling 5-day period. Really? I thought it was 3-day period. All right,
Yep.
my mistake. Okay, so rolling 5. Thank you guys. So rolling 5-day period. So
I might just leave this comment up on the screen forever.
So I repeat myself. So let's set up a trade for you, not for this
Today.
week. So a trade, because you're already at 2 or 3 in this 5-day period.
Well, I think one of them is going to roll off tomorrow. Bottom line is I can sell these BABA calls tomorrow. The problem is BABA could open up down 3% tomorrow, and I'd lose these. I've gained 50%. Today's return $220. I just can't sell. I can't.
If it isn't the consequences of your actions, what can I say? So I was going to suggest Chipotle for you for Thursday, but
that's way too expensive.
Okay, you're right. You're right. What about how much is this? No, that's also a pricey one. I'm going to the earnings calendar in Benzinga Pro. I'm going to filter it for next week.
Someone asked my price in bingo. Looks like I'm down 17% in bingo. Hims, I'm down 48% in. I think I have let's check my equity. I have 1 share of Hims.
Okay.
Bingo.
Okay. Oh no, they just did the reverse split. I'm looking for a cheap one for you, man.
It doesn't have to be cheap. It just Chipotle is just
okay. Fine. So GE, they report earnings next Tuesday, a week from today.
Yeah, I don't think GE is very volatile though, so I don't think it's great for trading options.
Well, now it's $100 stock, so got a little more. But you're right.
Look how.
Okay. You're right. Well, we'll keep going here. You want to do Twitter? They're next Thursday. No, they're next Tuesday.
I like that. I like Twitter. So because Twitter will also move off of Facebook's earnings.
Facebook reports on Facebook is.
I was thinking. Or
Facebook
how about
is
this?
Monday.
What about a stock that will move with Netflix's earnings today? So maybe like a Roku or
a Fubo or a Roku.
I don't know if Fubo would move with Netflix.
What has the potential to move with Netflix? It's a good conversation. Disney to some extent, because the stock is married to Disney Plus for whatever reason. Disney Plus, you can get some implications from Netflix.
Roku
is the most direct. Roku is the most direct playoff.
I think Roku's contracts are historically really expensive though. Let's see. Oh wait, well, I almost just bought. So okay, let's say the thesis is we think Netflix is going to report really strong earnings. As a result, we think Roku is going to pop a little bit. So we could say these $355 calls that expire this Friday. Yeah, I'll buy one of these, Spencer. I like it.
Wait. I'm sorry. What's the strike?
355. So essentially, Roku needs to go up 2% to hit my break. Yeah, to break even 2.79%.
355, $3.60. Yeah, for Friday.
I know, JC Jacobs. I need 25,000 cash.
Yes,
if you've got it,
we know this. This is why we're doing this trade, is to get him up to $25,000.
The problem is I don't have that. What can I say? Christopher is saying that he thinks Netflix subscriber growth will be underwhelming. I don't know. Now I'm a little undecided.
If you want to do it, man. If you want to do it, let's do. We got 2 minutes before we're gonna hop off here.
All right, Master of Stonks is saying he likes Disney right now. He thinks.
My Disney cost basis.
All right, let's go with our gut. Let's go with what we were gonna do.
Roku.
Roku call.
355 is our strike.
Continue. I like to put it my thing a little bit higher than what it says it is, so that it gets filled right away. Because I don't care about the difference between $2. No. Sure. Why not? 385 review order. Submit. Filled. 383. We're in. So again, what we're looking for here is a strong Netflix report that will then boost Roku's stock tomorrow. So essentially, if they say, "Oh yeah, the streaming industry is in a very good place right now, we're expected to grow, whatever, then, it could help Roku. And who knows? Maybe Roku will keep climbing without that anyway.
Here's what I know. Whatever happens, I'm going to say I told you so. Whether Roku goes up to 355 tomorrow or 360, or it goes down to 340 or 335, I'm going to say I told you so.
Yeah, because you can say, see, that's why you don't buy options. We sell options. Next Spencer and AB option lesson will be us selling options. We will throw that ask out there. If you have 25K laying around and you want to make a loan so that we can do some more trades on this show, email us at powerhour@benzinga.com. I'll give you my Venmo. And with that should be the show today.
That is the show. We got the roadmap coming up live right now. They're talking with Comic Man, the exclusive interview. They're talking Pixel Vault, Punk's Comic, Meta Hero. If you don't know what these words mean, you don't have to know. That's the point of the show, is to tell you what they mean. That's live right now. We're going to end the stream, redirect to that. Thanks to our guests today, all of them. Thanks to Neal. Thanks to all of you in the chat for hanging out with us. Hey, what are we on the like front? We're at
109.
109. Can we get to 2? We can get to 2. And we can get to 2. And then that's it. All information on this show is for informational purposes, not for investing advice. We're not experts. We know nothing. He doesn't even know how to pronounce Colin Powell's name right. And the roadmap coming up live.
You live and learn. Over and out, Ski. Smash the like on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see y'all tomorrow.